If there's anything I can do for you, please tell me. The Darkspawn have attacked Lothering. I don't think everyone even had fled by the time they came, either. Word has it they swarmed the entire area, making off with prisoners and burning down the buildings, and then they were gone. Just as quick. I wonder if there's anyone left. I heard some chanters were going to head down south, maybe to try to find some survivors. I'm not holding out hope myself. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. There's another royal army already gathering in the east, but from what I hear, when it marches, it'll be headed west, not south towards the Darkspawn. Can you imagine? If the Bodahn stand up against Loghain, we won't need the Darkspawn to destroy us. We'll do their work for them. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. It seems that some of the bands just won't accept Tyrn Loghain's orders. There's too much talk still of King Keelan's death and questions about what happened. You'd think with the Darkspawn knocking on our doorstep, people would be more likely to stand together, wouldn't you? That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. Tyrn Loghain had one of the Bodahn arrested for speaking out against him. Arrested! Can you imagine such a thing? It seems the band were talking treason, about how Loghain needed to be forcibly removed from the throne. But arrested? How can you arrest one of the Bodahn? That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. Have you heard? Loghain has named Alrend and Howe as the new Tyrn of Teneron, with the Arling going to Howe's eldest son. Yorian died at Ostagar and his son died in some elven revolt in the city. It's tragic news. I wonder what got Arl Howe such a promotion. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. I hear rumor that Orlesian forces that were coming to help us fight the Darkspawn have been turned back at the mountain crossing. You'd almost think we could use their help against those monsters, though part of me is glad we won't have Ferelden full of Orlesian bastards again. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. There's news come out of Redcliffe at last. Seems that Arl Eamon has come down with some deadly sickness, probably the blight, and he may even die. If he does, that probably means no one else can stand up to Tyrn Loghain in the Landsmeet. Rather fortunate turn for Tyrn, no? That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. It's said that the city of Highever is full of troops sent by Tyrn Loghain. There's been rumors of a revolt, maybe even one that killed the Kuzland family. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. I hear the Dwarven King is passed on. Old as he was probably poisoned or assassinated. That's how the dwarves normally go out, isn't it? That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. Something's going on at the Mage's Tower at Lake Calenhod. Nobody knows exactly what, though, and the Templars aren't saying. Exactly what we need, isn't it? Let's hope the mages are just cooking up something to deal with the Darkspawn. Somebody should be, after all. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. I hear from folks traveling the East Roads that there's werewolves in the Brazilian forest. Actual werewolves. They haven't been around since the days of Dane and his ilk. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. I've heard a rumor that the reason Queen Enora has never produced an heir is that she's barren. It's a curse from the Maker for bringing a commoner into the royal line. Until someone of royal blood is put on the throne, there will never be an heir. It seems the royal line of Calenhod has been broken for good, no? That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. Some hunters who range into the Brazilian forest say that a Dalish clan there has fallen to some kind of sickness. The blight, most likely, poor sods. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. No one Grey Wardens were supposed to come here from Orlais, but I hear they got turned back. Considering all the questions surrounding what happened at Ostagar, it's just as well. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. I've heard a lot of stories of bands of Darkspawn roaming the countryside far north of the Kokori Wilds. They just seem to appear out of nowhere and disappear just as fast. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. I'm hearing many tales of corpses clawing out of their graves all over, Not just people either, animals too. Just yesterday, a farmer told me about the kitten his daughter had buried behind his barn. Little thing came back to life and crawled up, mewling as loud as you please. His daughter was delighted, at least until it just about chewed her finger off. Strange days, I tell you. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. Unless Isolde, the young Orlesian woman that married Earl Eamon, I hear tell she tried to poison her husband so she could marry his brother, Bantegan. Maker's honest truth. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. The crafters of the Pearl Brothel are threatening to close their doors if they aren't finally recognized as a true guild. Ha! Can you imagine? As if the men weren't blue enough. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. I heard a strange rumor the other day. King Cailan was not really Merric's son, you see. Merric's real son is hidden in the bowels of Denram's palace and has been since he was born. I suppose they feed him cakes all day to keep him content. Maybe he's simple. Or a mage. Merric's real son, a mage. Can you imagine? That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. Habron, daughter of the Earl of Southreach, has spent an exorbitant amount of her father's coin buying puppies. No one knows what happens to the puppies, and she buys a new one every week. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. I don't know what to tell you. Nothing I can think of at the moment.